There. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are here for another episode of the Sports Pod with the Keep It Clean crew. We are going to run through just the usual updates that we've seen within this last week, but we got a great show for y'all. I'm the host with the most, sometimes depends on the day, Mr. Ray, and I got my brother, another co-host for this week. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm the man with the plan, Mr. Jamel. It's the only thing I can
And
think
we're
of.
down our
So
home.
short notice.
That's the only thing you got. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Short, sweet, to the point. And we're down the homie, Mr. Rose. He's out. I think he's still crying from the Falcons loss. Both of us couldn't be gone this week, but as you see, there's no jersey on. I don't even have a baseball team, but I felt like this is the safest option because football let me down that bad this past weekend, man. Pain, absolute
Go
pain.
Bears.
Like I'm gonna start this show a little bit differently. What in sports this past week pissed you off?
What pissed me off in sports this week? Honestly, it just happened. Russ being benched. I don't know why it gets under my skin so much. I see Aaron Rodgers still not slinging the ball in Pittsburgh, but he's playing. So, and yeah, Russ did make some bonehead mistakes, but I don't like him being benched. And I definitely don't like that rookie going up against the Chargers defense. They should have waited till he played the Saints, but it really
Hmm.
got under my
Okay.
skin.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Lamar Jackson slander that I've seen because even with their current record, and I get it, they have a losing record. It's the Ravens. No one should ever be concerned about what they're going to do during the regular season. But any opportunity someone gets to shoot at Lamar, it seems like they take advantage of it because the losses have not been his fault. And in addition, the pickup on the Ravens offense of running three iffy plays. If Derrick Henry isn't successful getting yards, then they will do three of those types of plays, and then on somewhere on the third and forever or a fourth down that's critical, they just go, "Oh, Lamar, make magic happen," and then they reset with those same three plays, man. So I'm I'm on the Lamar Jackson team forever, forever, man. So, these shots at him sets us up for another year of what's looking like to either prop up Josh Allen more or another way to get Mahomes back into the comfortability of being that quarterback that the league speaks on. So that's where we're at. But we're gonna go straight into college. College football didn't have any amazing games this past week. Not that I remember, but we did
No,
have some losses and some wins, man. So what piqued your interest?
that Indiana Illinois game. We have two ranked teams.
Ooh,
Illinois, I think, was ranked ninth, and Indiana was 17th, I believe.
and there was a
63
butt
to
whooping.
10. Yes, they laid it on them. Yeah, the game was in Indiana, but people said Illinois was a more complete team, and man, whoo, that really
That
got me.
man, that 63 to 10 dropped them 14 spots. Illinois went from number 9 to number 23. And and the tough part about it is like I can't defend it because we've seen other teams lose. I don't think we've seen somebody lose like that. And they're both ranked, but I guess they don't respect the schedule. Is that what it is? Like they they
I
don't
don't
respect
know.
14 spots. 14, man. And they got a game to try to get themselves back right. Right now they're gonna face USC, who's ranked number 21.
Mhm.
They got a game there that I don't know if it necessarily means anything, but they're here. I I saw Notre Dame get out by the skin of their teeth again, again, and yes, it's 26 points. I'm not sleeping on that. What I am saying is you let Purdue put 30 on you. And it wasn't like it was a walk away game the entire time. They started scoring close to the end of the game. They went up
Mhm.
2 spots, which they needed, and somehow they're the only team with a losing record that's in the top 25. and that's the nonsense I'll be talking about. they haven't. They're 1-2. Everybody else that's in the top 25, it only has one loss or they're undefeated. They are 1-2, ranked above a 3-0 BYU, a 3-0 TCU, and a fresh off an ass whooping Illinois at 3-1. Let's see what else happened. We have some spots that had moved around. There weren't any other notable games, but we saw Miami go up 2 spots with a win over Florida. So now they're second. Penn State dropped because they had a bye, which I feel sorry for them. Having a bye that early in the season, I can't imagine is the greatest. We saw LSU drop a spot, which I'm not sure why, because they stomped out their competition 56-10 playing Southeastern Louisiana. Georgia remains at 5. And those last few teams I just said. So we see Penn State at 3 going up against Oregon at 6 this weekend. You got a prediction?
I think
stand by that Oregon slander. Stand by it. Stand by that Oregon slander.
You know what? I'm not trying to slander Oregon for anyone who likes Oregon. Quack, quack. But I think Penn State is just going to lean on them. They're going to wear them down.
Don't duck now.
Run all over them.
Say the truth. Don't duck now. Don't duck now. Say the truth.
I'm being honest. I think Penn State, they're going to run all over Oregon. All over.
Okay. Okay. Now we got LSU standing in at number 4, playing number 13 Ole Miss. Should also be a good game. Who you got? Oh, and sorry, I also have Penn State over Oregon. I'm not going to take that away from you. Penn State's defense looks very good so far this year. They look very good this year. But LSU Ole Miss
26-10.
For who?
Penn State over Oregon.
26-10. Oregon gets held to 10 points. They're only known for offense.
And they're known for not showing up for big games. Look at their playoff record.
Ooh, yeah, but regular season, they show up for big games. This is the same team last year that beat Ohio State. That's tough.
I'm sticking with it. 26-10.
Fair enough. I have it a little bit more higher scoring. I have it more of a 34-27, but still Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a higher scoring. LSU, Ole Miss. I'll go first with this one. I'm not gonna lie. I think LSU is gonna smack Ole Miss into oblivion. I do. But the thing about Ole Miss, from what I've seen so far, they look like an upset team. They do. They strike me as an SEC team that is a problem to people, but I feel like LSU is pretty solid. I think they beat them definitively myself. How do you have it?
So LSU struggled with Clemson back when Clemson was number 4. They're not number 4 now. They haven't even won a game yet.
Okay.
LSU could only put 23 on Louisiana Tech. Not saying Louisiana Tech's a joke, but they could only put 23 on them. LSU dropped 20 on Florida. 20-10 is what they won by. 20-10. I mean, they beat Southeastern Louisiana 56-10, but you and I could beat Southeast Louisiana 56-10, just 2 of them. All right. So I'm not impressed with LSU. I mean, I'm not impressed. I don't trust their head coach. I'm going Ole Miss. I'm going Ole Miss.
That's correct. If you were to call the score, how do you see it?
Ole Miss.
People are placing their bets on you, man.
42-28. Ole Miss.
Jesus Christ. All right. We just going to slide by both. While they're not ranked anymore, Clemson was touted to be one of those teams. LSU beat them. They were ranked at the time that they played. Let's be clear. They were clearly ranked at the time that they played.
Hey,
right?
Sir, if they're sorry now, they were sorry then. They just had the ranking. They were still sorry.
They were ranked at the time that they played, and that's how the college football playoffs people look at it. At the time that there was a play, they were ranked. Florida was also touted or supposed to be one of those teams coming into the season. So these aren't supposedly pushover teams that they beat. They were close, but these were tough teams coming into the season, and they won. That's important. That's important. But hey, man, okay. So you got the up. It would be an upset. You got the upset of Ole Miss over LSU. So how do you feel about number 5 Georgia playing number 17 Alabama? It's gonna be a good week.
I it is. So I think that game. I think Georgia's going to win. I'll say that right now. I just don't know if it's going to be a blowout or a close game because either one can happen. Alabama hasn't been the same since Saban retired. They haven't been the same. They don't scare anybody. Alabama used to terrify people when Saban was the coach there, especially in his prime. Now they don't scare anyone. It's like Alabama. They look at Alabama like they're Oregon, another team. All right. That's a shout out at Oregon. But I think Georgia's going to win. Man, and again, Georgia hasn't looked great all season, but they look a hell of a lot better than Alabama. I think they're going to win 35-21.
You know what? I'm gonna just agree with you because I'm in the same situation as you. For how bad Alabama's defense has looked to me, I don't have much more faith in their offense either. Giving them 21 seems like a generosity thing, just because more so the rivalry between Alabama and Georgia and what has gone on historically, especially within these last 10 years, with them being the powerhouses that they are. And that's the best I can say about them right now. That's genuinely all I might have at this current moment. Because, I mean, so far they beat Florida State. Or, no, I'm sorry. No, they lost to Florida State 31-17. They beat UL Monroe. But the same way you just said Southeast Louisiana, it seems like we could beat a lot of teams in Louisiana. UL Monroe isn't that crazy. Now, Wisconsin, they put up 38 on Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin's team, but I've seen better out of that conference. Like we watched Nebraska put up a tougher game against the Wolverines than I believe Wisconsin could ever do. So I might be on the side of, if they get 21, that's a win. That's a win for the offense that they have. Now,
I agree.
What we're looking at, that those are the only ranked matches that we have this weekend. So just to run down the current CFP rankings. Right now we have number 1, the Ohio State, to your dismay. We got Miami at number 2, Penn State at 3, LSU at 4, Georgia at 5, Oregon at 6, Oklahoma at 7, Florida State at 8, Texas A&M at 9, and Texas at 10, who has no game this week. And for the first time in a long time, we have 3 Texas teams in the top 25. At 11, Indiana; at 12, Texas Tech; 13, Ole Miss; 14, Iowa State; Tennessee at 15, Georgia Tech at 16. Shout out to Georgia Tech for coming in here and making some noise for the ACC. 17 is Alabama; 18 is Vanderbilt. Rose said be on the lookout for them. He did tell us that. Rose said be on the lookout for them. They play Utah State, which should be an easy win for them to advance to 5-0. Moving up 2 spots after a win, a close one with Nebraska, is Michigan at 19 on their bye week. Missouri at 20.
That's not a gang sign.
Not a gang sign. USC at 21. Notre Dame at 22. Illinois at 23. TCU and BYU bring up 24 and 25. And shout out to all the teams, man. We're going to slide straight into professional CTE. NFL updates. What surprised you from this past week, and what had you doubling down from something you may have said last week?
First of all, professional CTE. Yo, what?
NFL.
Oh my
It's
God.
professional CTE, man. You know, NFL updates, man. Yeah, professional CTE.
Well said, sir. I have 2 surprises, if I may. How badly Detroit throttled Baltimore threw me off, and then Cleveland coming back on Green Bay and winning it. Dude, oh my goodness. Both of them caught me off guard.
Yes, I will double down on the Cleveland and Green Bay game. You're not supposed to have upsets in the NFL, genuinely, because they are pros. But Cleveland being able to holding them to 10 points and then turning around and coming back all their points scored in the fourth quarter to win the game is pretty tough. People sleep on Cleveland's defense just because how bad the offense is. But I
Mm-hmm.
think Judkins is going to show to be a valuable player. That's probably one of the only stars that they have on that side in the meantime. My surprise too is Indianapolis looks good. Indianapolis looks really, really good. And I think they are gonna they're in a position right now because no one had any expectations for him genuinely. So they get to run away with his way, but they put hands and feet all over the Tennessee Titans. So I have them coming in with a great showing. Let me start off with asking you: was it the Vikings or the Bengals really going to struggle without Joe Burrow?
Uh, the Bengals, they're going to struggle so much more. They have $500 million donated to their receivers, and they have no one to give them the ball. My granddaughter could go out there and throw better passes than Jake Browning. Um, it's going to be the Bengals, and you still have a slightly better but still horrible offensive line. So now you have this quarterback who is mid at best on his best day, behind a really bad offensive line, and you have a porous defense. So he's going to be throwing the ball a lot. That defense gives up points, so he's going to be playing catch up the entire time. But I think the Bengals, they're really going to struggle.
How did you feel about Wentz's play, Carson Wentz, stepping in for JJ McCarthy?
He played competently. You know, a few years ago, I would have said, man, Carson Wentz, that dude might make a Pro Bowl. And now I'm just like, don't fuck it up. All right. just just don't throw interceptions. But he played competently. That's a compliment.
Yeah, the Vikings defense lost their minds. Specifically, Isaiah Rodgers having both a pick six and a fumble recovery return for a touchdown. So it realistically, while the Bengals struggled, and I know the Vikings put up 48, you take away 14 of those points, it makes it more reasonable for what the offense kind of looks like. I do think with Carson Wentz, though, as someone that has the capability to throw the ball, that their offense kind of picks up a little bit. I see Justin Jefferson being able to get back to his usual numbers. We might see some usage with Hawkinson, and then the door opening for Jordan Mason should be good as long as Aaron Jones is still going through it. I'm not the biggest on Aaron Jones himself. He's always injury prone. He's efficient when he's there, but the best ability is availability. So the Vikings should be okay. We had the next game, Aaron Rodgers. Despite your lack of trust in them, they beat a good Patriots defense. Put up two TDs against them in the 21-14 victory, and the Steelers forced 5 turnovers. 5 of them things. You have nothing positive to say
Look,
about that game, do you?
first of all, fuck Aaron Rodgers. Second of all, the Patriots defense was good last year. I think we're still looking at last year like they're still a good defense. The Patriots have not played well offensively or defensively this year. And I feel really bad for Drake May because I think no, not probably. He's the best player on that team, and he could be a Pro Bowl quarterback. This is me saying this today. Drake May will be a Pro Bowl quarterback, but he's surrounded by trash still. Stephon Diggs is not playing. He hasn't played like Stephon Diggs since he was in Buffalo. It's been a steady decline, and we saw it in Houston, and now we're seeing more of it in New England. The offensive line is really bad. They have a great coaching staff for sure, but they need to bring in some real players, surround him by some real players. Hunter Henry is probably going to be one of the top receivers on his team at the end of the year, and that's his tight end, and he's off to a slow start. So they need to bring in some weapons in. That Ricky running back
I
looks
think
pretty good, but Raymond Stevenson's the man
he,
because Ricky can't block.
well, Stevenson is hurt, so he's kind of a little hobbled as we speak. Stephon Diggs is still coming off of an ACL tear, so I know he had plenty of time to heal. I just don't know what we should expect from him, especially in the early side of the season. And man, he got one on the way with allegations out there on him, so he might be going through some mental stress. And Henderson, like you said, he can't block, but he has a large amount of upside potential. It's just going to be a struggle to get him locked into the offense if the offensive line themselves are struggling. So I can't expect him to block better than the lineman. And if Drake May's not getting time for as talented as he's showing us he is for being able to scramble, move around, and get outside the pocket, it's gonna be an uphill battle because you could get outside the pocket and then you have mediocre receivers that aren't really getting open, so you still kind of lost in the sauce. I don't know if they have anything coming up that really is of concern for me, though, that says the Patriots are going to stand out and be a better team. Now, we can go on Jets versus the Buccaneers, which was a close game. And it wasn't one that just came out. I want to say they won by a field goal, if I remember correctly, right? Like the field goal to win the game?
I believe so. I'm checking right now. But I believe you're correct. Yep.
Are we out on the Jets? Or is it just they played in great games against tough teams? Because for all the knocks that they put on Justin Fields has been putting up points. He has. This was a 27-29 game. It wasn't as if
it was Tyrod Taylor this week.
Oh, Fields got hurt? Because I missed that game.
Yes.
I did miss that Sunday game.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor. He played this week.
And he gave you 21 in the fourth?
Yeah. I've always thought Tyrod Taylor was a great backup. Short-term starter. Always thought he was good.
This was the one game I didn't watch but going into halftime, it was 20-6, and I just assumed that the Buccaneers would run away with it. That defense of the Jets held them to only 9 points in the second half, which looks like an accumulation of 3 field goals, while the offense went and put up 21. Are we done with the Jets? And shout out to Baker and doing what he's doing. The Buccaneers do look good at 3-0.
Absolutely.
But are we out on the Jets?
They should be the Dolphins, maybe. Dolphins, Cowboys, but they're going to lose to the Broncos. They might lose to the Panthers. They'll beat the Bengals. They're going to lose to the Browns. They got the Patriots again. They have the Ravens. They have the Jets. I'm done. I'm out. And I like Aaron Glenn, the head coach, but yeah, they're not making the playoffs. They're not going to finish over 500 for sure. They need a real quarterback. I like Justin Fields. Dude has not known. He hasn't learned how to throw the ball accurately. In 5 years, he's been in the league, 5-6 years. Yeah, I like him, but he's not a real quarterback. They need a real quarterback.
I don't like the disrespect and towards Justin Fields because he's only played 2 seasons at best with somewhat of a competent offensive line. So to say that he doesn't throw well in the NFL is also insane to me. He spent his first 3 years on the run for his life.
In Chicago.
His first 3 years, he was on the run for his on the run for his life. He couldn't develop the timing to throw the football appropriately. If we know historically the Bears do not believe in protecting their quarterbacks.
We helped make him a faster runner.
In Pittsburgh,
you're welcome.
Fair. I can't take that away. That's a fair point. In Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's not an offensive coach, but he had an opportunity to do better. And per his words, if he did what he was supposed to do, despite them having a 6-0 start, he would have ended up starting over Russell Wilson. You can argue that Russ was going to be the starter either way whenever he came back from injury, but Justin Fields didn't show anything then. What I can say, though, this year, he was slinging that rock. He's been slinging the rock this year, man.
In one game. We still eating off that Jet Steelers game. One game. They lost to the Bills 30-10. Where we slinging the rock to? 30-10.
The Bills are good.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And then you just have the game against the Buccaneers. So again, people still eating off that 34-32 game against the Steelers that they lost.
Well,
and they're 0-3.
They are 0-3. What I can say is I'm no professional, but if you do play fantasy football, anybody on the Jets offense is not gonna be a good time. It's not gonna be a good time, bro. Brees Hall, you might as well
Garrett Wilson,
trade him. Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson, trade them if you can. Get something in return, man. It's not gonna be pretty for him. All right, so Raiders Commanders. Marcus Mariota came out there, fresh off of his Netflix special. This is the first time he's had some air to start. It's been 2 years, and they put up 41. Even though there was that one play I saw him running, and they punched the ball out of his hands. I was like, "Look at you doof!" But shout out to Mr. Oregon, he's back. 41-24. Is it panic mode for Pete Carroll in Las Vegas?
If it were anyone else, I'd say yes, but Pete Carroll just got there. He's building a team right now. And they know Pete Carroll's in a rush too, personally, because he's in his 70s. I mean, he looks like he might be in his 50s, but dude's in his 70s. So he's in rush mode too. So I think the ownership is just like, hey, Pete, do what you do. We rocking with you. So even if he finishes under 500 and they don't make the playoffs, he's going to be fine. He'll be back next year.
Okay. For that offense, Bowers has been a little bit hurt. What I can say is I think Geno's going to have himself a year. I know they're starting off, they're only 1-2, but if they could just get a little bit more time for him, Geno might have a great season. And again, speaking on the fantasy side, that's a QB I would have in the tuck. And you can't, for real life, I'm not out the door yet on Jonty. A lot of the rookie running backs are having a hard time, but this also what happens when you go to particular teams other than by the time we get to him, I'll remember his name, but the brother for the Chargers. Every other rookie running back that was highly touted that was coming out of this draft class has ran into being on teams that obviously you were drafted high by them for a reason. They have a lot to work with or need a lot done. But I do think the Raiders will be formidable by the end of the season. I think they'll be somewhere around 500, but this is going to be a good setup going into next year. The Commanders without Jaden Daniels. I know they've lost this year, but they also lost to Philly. This wasn't like so are they still early in the season, 3 games in? Are they still the team that we saw last year from your perspective?
They are. First of all, having Marcus Mariota, he and Jaden Daniels play very similarly. So that really helped out their offense. He just, as far as the line, the wide receivers were concerned, they just picked up where Jaden Daniels left off. But their division, they have Philadelphia to contend with. That's it. They have some cupcake teams coming up. I mean, they're going to run up the score on the Cowboys, but they have the Dolphins coming up. They have the Vikings coming up. I have no faith in them at all. It's great they beat up on the Bengals. No faith. They have the Giants coming up. So I think they can still make the playoffs. Not if Jaden Daniels is out for a long time. But he's a young guy, and I understand if they want to give him a game or two off. But I think they're gonna finish pretty strong, I think.
Okay. Do you have them as a wild card?
Yes. Yes, yes. Uh, yeah, they're not going to be
Okay.
the top team in their division. I don't think they're going to be one of the top teams in the conference, but yeah, as a wild card, they can slide in.
Okay. Which says a lot because the NFC does look tough this year.
Mm-hmm.
Going into trash games of the year, bro. I'm gonna just get this ran off really quick. Atlanta. This is a loyal fan speaking to you. I want to start off with Michael Penix, right? I'm not a professional by any means, and you made it to that level. There were times though where you made me believe in myself enough that I thought I could call a couple people that maybe they could walk on for the organization, and I expect better from you, and I hope for better from you. But there was many of your dump off passes, and you threw a lot of dump off passes where you didn't even look to see if a defender was there. You just assumed that it was a safe play. Now I don't know if this is an indictment on how you guys practice. Maybe the cornerbacks take it easy. I know Terrell wasn't there this week because he's injured on the defensive side, so you weren't used to that pressure that you would usually see. But to get goose egged, a big zero, nil, nothing to the Panthers. Ooh, man, I know you receive threats, and you shouldn't. But I do know you receive threats from somebody out there, man. Like the Carolina Panthers beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-0, man. And a person that I forgot about that's on the bubble that's been flying under the radar is Bryce Young. You don't know where he's going to be at, but Bryce Young comfortably led that team pretty decently with the offense. He gave you at least he didn't. He got you 23 of those 30 points because there was a pick six. Any takeaways from two bum teams that you might have, man?
Well, Bryce Young usually flies under the radar because he's short. All right, so he's still not going to be a great quarterback. This is just one of those weird wins that came out of nowhere. Uh, it was every week you get that weird game. You're like, man, how did that happen? That's what that game was. Man, how did that happen? I don't think anyone guessed that they could win like that against the Falcons. So,
I mean, this was also one of those games. Unless you were a Falcons or a Panthers fans, nobody else was watching this. If you have the full NFL package, you know what game I'm sure you weren't selecting to throw on the TV? It was the Falcons and the Panthers. It and it was one of those games where most people probably thought it'd be 13-10,
mm-hmm.
7-6, because we've had that happen before, 9-7, but 30-0 is insane. And it's sad too because the Falcons defense is pretty good. The Falcons defense is one of those where I would put them in contention with a lot of other teams, especially when they're healthy. But you can't do anything if you keep being forced out on the field. There were so many 3-and-outs. There were so many giveaways that the offense quite literally was not moving the ball. I I don't even remember Penix looking downfield. And when I say downfield, I'm talking about maybe 12 yards or more for that entire game. It was dump off season, man. We call waste management. That's how it felt. Dump after dump after dump after dump. It was a trash game. So we can move on to another set of trash teams. Jaguars and the Texans in a division game. Jags pulled away 17-10. Are we going to have a conversation about CJ?
I I think it's a hangover of the sophomore slump. Uh, I see pundits on TV saying that it's the offensive line. It could be a little bit of both. Um, man, he he doesn't have the receiver talent that he did have when he had Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and I forgot the other brother, but he doesn't have them anymore. Now it's just force it to Nico Collins, uh, and then a dump off to Dwight Schultz every now and then.
Yep.
I, I hate this for him because that rookie season was definitely something to build on. also why I was worried so much about Jaden Daniels this season. But I really hope he figures it out. I like his head coach, D'Amico Ryans. He has a defensive head coach, which usually isn't well for younger quarterbacks. But the offensive coordinator is a really good offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now. But hopefully they get him figured out and get him back on target. I
Mm.
hope.
So I will go the other side of the ball. Brian Thomas Jr. is in his sophomore slump. Like what was
Yeah.
a standout rookie season of just being a go-to guy. Arguably, if you ask me and ask me alone, Brian Thomas Jr. is the only reason Trevor Lawrence has a starting job this season, as far as I'm concerned, because he bailed him out in many ways. And then to come into this season, I don't know if it's a mental thing. Maybe he saw a threat coming from Travis Hunter. But in this last game, Travis Hunter only played, I think it was about 40% of the offensive snaps. They've been focusing, or they had him significantly more on defense as that team tries to figure out where his usage is going to be. So Brian Thomas Jr. is still the primary offensive person on at least on the offensive side of the ball. The ETN is kind of there. They're still playing with Tootin, or however you pronounce the brother's last name, as far as running back. So it's it's running back by committee.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2-1 as of right now, but I don't have them as better than the Colts. Personally, I can say that they're better than the Titans, but I also am on the side that the Titans are a few steps from just figuring it out to enough to be a competitive team, where the Jaguars, I do think they're doing better than what they should be, and that bubble's going to burst. That's just my personal prediction for both of these teams, and even including last game. Unless you have Bijan Robinson, all four, the Falcons, Panthers, Texans, and Jaguars, and Nico Collins. Those are the only two takeaways if you play in fantasy. Nico Collins, Bijan Robinson. You're going to get you some points. Unfortunately, we are wasting a Drake London. Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. CJ Stroud is if you're desperate. I've seen him on the waiver wire significantly more than I would have ever thought, but just coming off of that rookie season. And if you have Trevor Lawrence, you're a Jaguars fan. I don't know what else to tell you.
So
I
what's
don't
up
even
with
think Jamel would
Sunshine?
stamp any of their players right now. So
Oh,
again, Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence, and Daniel Jones had the exact same numbers coming into the season. Daniel Jones has been slandered to the lowest of the pits that any New York fan could put on top of him, and then now has gone out to Indiana and has become a whole new person. A whole new person. He went to the Bible Belt. He probably started reading. He realized there's nothing else you could do out there in Indiana besides support basketball. he's somewhere watching a summer league pickup game and then going to practice with the Colts. And here you are down in Florida as Trevor Lawrence. These aren't stellar numbers that's been put up this year. They're not. So I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jags are right where they're going to be in a very weak division. I do think they probably end up placing second, only because of the fact that right now Tennessee at 0-3 aren't looking great and the Texans aren't the best. That's how I have the Jags. In a division rivalry game, we are flying through this. I love this pacing, man. Broncos and Chargers gave us a great one. Broncos and Chargers gave us a mix of defense and offense. I love this game. I watched it in its totality, man. Justin Herbert getting his just due, man. Justin Herbert I love this. Justin Herbert came out there and is making Keenan Allen damn near look like he's going to be fully healthy this season, bro. and in that takeaway too, I also have, man, but between Harbaugh and Sean Payton, you have both great defenses and you have offenses that they have enough talent that they're starting to build around. I'm liking Bo Nix. I am. And I'm also liking what Justin Herbert's doing. And unlike the other rookies or rookie running backs, theirs is going to be a starter now that Najee Harris has gone down, unfortunately, with that Achilles injury. Do you think that changes
mm-hmm.
anything on their side, or does this make them more potent as an offense?
So what's up with Sunshine?
As an offense?
So what's up with Sunshine? 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 So what Uh, I guess it depends on how well the rookie plays. Jim Harbaugh, that dude is a genius, and I've been saying that for years. People say Bill Belichick, and I'm like, dude, everywhere Harbaugh goes, he wins. Stanford had a bunch of nerds out there, uh, winning 1 and 2 games a season. He takes he had Stanford ranked number one at one point with a bunch of nerds. What are we talking about? One minute they're talking about I'm building a rocket, and the next minute they're 352, 352. So that's what he did. Then he goes to the pros and goes to San Fran, and San Fran really hasn't been good since Steve Mariucci. They haven't been that good, and Jim Harbaugh steps in, and he has Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback from Nevada, and he took over for Alex Smith from Utah. So I mean, he's taking these quarterbacks, and he's like, look, I'm going to mold you. And granted, Alex Smith was really good in college, so was Colin Kaepernick, but Harbaugh took them and said, look, we're going to have a balanced offense. And if you notice that with every team he has, the run-pass ratio is almost even. He likes a balanced offense and a strong defense. And, he leaves San Fran. He goes back to college. He goes to instead of MU. He goes to Michigan. And, he gets us a chip, man. I was so happy. Oh, God, I wrote him so many letters. He hasn't responded to any of them, but I wrote so many, and I'm hoping to get a response. And I'm not crazy, Jim. I'm not. But he goes back to the pros, and I was like, please, Chicago Bears, snatch him up. And they didn't do it. They kept that lame duck coach another season, and we miss out on Jim Harbaugh because he could have fixed the Bears. That's another story. But he goes to San Diego, and he fixes the slight kinks
LA.
in Justin Herbert's throwing motion. Yeah. What else? LA Chargers.
You said San Diego. It's all good.
My bad. He goes to the LA Chargers, and he fixes that little kink that was wrong with Justin Herbert. Because Justin Herbert was already a really good quarterback, and I think he's making him a great quarterback. That defense had the players. They just didn't know how to line up and not how to play defense, but they didn't know how to stop other teams. They had the players, but they didn't have the plan. He brought in a plan, and he fixed Quentin Johnson. That dude had baby hands of butter and couldn't catch anything. I don't think he's ever been sick because he can't catch a cold. It's crazy, and he's fixed him. This is the Jim Harbaugh effect, and all these players are really good. He brought this plan and said, this is how we're going to play football. Dude, not this year, maybe 2 seasons. In 2 seasons, he's going to win an NFL championship. I know he's going to win one.
Oh, that's tough. Okay. Hot take. Man, I didn't know. I don't know if that last statement is just because, out of all the donuts in the world, you chose to glaze Harbaugh for his whole backstory and whatnot. I appreciate I do.
No, I'm just pointing out everywhere he goes, he wins.
They are a formidable team, and they made a statement. They're 2-0 in the division, and they beat 2 solid teams to be 2-0 in the division with the Chiefs and the Broncos, right? And even with the Broncos, because I do think the Broncos are going to be a dogfight for anybody that plays them this year. And they might mess around and shake up some things in that same division as well, because I don't think the Chiefs get them out of there easily either, which could bode very well for the Chargers. There's a strong chance the Chargers might win that division. And that may not be a team I would want to see in the playoffs, but as it's shaping up, I might give an early prediction. Here's my hot take. The era of trying to figure out whether it's Lamar or Josh to usurp Pat, and I only said those 2 because Joe Burrow typically has been hurt around that time, or they're just not making the playoffs. I think we're going to be set up for a new era where we start talking about Justin Herbert and then the rest of the AFC. And it's not to discount the Chiefs at all. I think the Chiefs will still be a formidable team, but even with the current team that they have by the time Rashee Rice comes back, unless they make a move at receiver, I don't think the offense is going to be the same or as potent, because Kelsey's older, obviously, and your running back situation, I'm not sure what's going on, but Pacheco has not been the same Pacheco that we knew before the injury. The Chargers are going to be a threat. The Chargers are going to be a real threat. So I love that. Saints, Seahawks. Only team worse than the Falcons is the New Orleans Saints. And I'm glad that they are suffering much more than us. Only reason I'm sad about New Orleans suffering is because I do want to see Spencer Rattler do good. Outside of that, y'all got smoked 44-13. 44-13, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba still looks good. I think we're seeing the Seahawks just kind of glide by. And we're really not going to see them really play anybody until they run into a division game. So I don't have anything too crazy to say about that matchup. You have anything for that?
Not about the matchup. I do think the Saints are going to regret not drafting Shedeur Sanders. I really think they're going to regret it. It's just my opinion.
They didn't know their starter was going to retire. They didn't know. This is hindsight. They didn't know he was just going to pull the Schwammy on them just out of nowhere, man. But
they could have drafted him, David Carr. If he stayed, David Carr could have groomed him, mentored him.
Crazy. We're talking sports, man.
Yeah, I want to say groomed. I didn't mean that term. Definitely mentored. Definitely.
We're talking sports, man. Clean minds only. All right. You fresh off of pushing up Michigan. I'm gonna let you have this moment. Cowboys Bears. Saw you, big dog.
We are the Bears.
Cowboys Bears.
Shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we good. Strutting our stuff like you knew we would. We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle. So I'm going to feel good this week because, number one, I love my Bears. Number two, now that I live in Texas, I hate the Cowboys. So when you combine the two, last Sunday was chef's kiss. It was amazing. It was awesome. Caleb Williams looked like what Caleb Williams should look like. Just can he do it consistently? I mean, it's against a porous Dallas defense. Wow, I wonder why they're so bad. Micah Parsons. Yeah, that's the right answer, yeah. So a really bad Dallas defense. But I think Ben Johnson, and this could be a confidence booster in this game, and Rome Odunze, I think he's the number one. Is DJ Moore now the number two receiver there? So I'm feeling good.
Yes.
You said yes? Moore's number two?
He is. DJ Moore's number two. Yeah.
I feel good.
When y'all do the Super Bowl shuffle, in light of Caleb Williams, you have to flash your fingers like this with a manicure at the end of the dance, or how does that work?
Whether he wants it like this or like this, it does not matter to me. As long as he wins, just win, baby. I will paint his name. Just win.
Do you? A win's a win. I don't want to take that away. Does this win against a team that you don't respect make you feel any better? I didn't even realize they both went scoreless in the fourth quarter. They both put up nothing in the fourth quarter.
So
do you feel confident for beating the Cowboys?
Yes, because like you said at the very beginning, they're all professional players. So you still beat a team full of professionals. Even if their defense is horrible, you beat a team full of professionals. Even if the number one receiver got injured. Technically, George Pickens was number one last year. He should have stepped right in and played. But the Bears still beat them regardless. So, yes, I do feel good. I do.
Y'all's team did take out the only player that anybody currently cared about on the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb's going to be out. He avoided the IR, but the way his ankle moved, man, you would think he should sit down for at least 6 weeks, but no CeeDee Lamb, man. So on my take, we are going to have to see what Dak is actually made of. And having Pickens be Pickens, who's usually a little bit more drama related, this might be a fun time just to watch the news of the Cowboys. Maybe not the actual games, but just the news of the Cowboys. This should be a I think they're gonna have a losing season. I do.
I think so too.
I think they're gonna have a losing season, man. I genuinely feel like the Cowboys wins. You can count them beating New York again. Like, I'll give them that, because they shouldn't have won the first one. Russell Wilson did what Russell Wilson did, and that's a great transition going into the next topic. But I think the Cowboys are gonna have a losing season, only to be, looking back on games like New York, just to watch that same New York team bench Russell, man. The Chiefs took down the Giants on Sunday Night Football, 22-9, right? With just a slew of field goals, essentially, because the Giants defense, and I do want to give credit to Abdul Carter, man. He's looking great for a rookie. That's exactly why he was drafted so high. But you held the Chiefs to one touchdown. It was a field goal the first quarter, 2 the second quarter, and then 2 the fourth quarter. They only scored a touchdown in the third. But unfortunately, on the other side, man, I don't even know if Malik Neighbors had a catch this game. Man, once again, I was in the game watching. I was like, Russell, what are you doing? Like, Russell Wilson got benched for Jackson Dart. Is it deserved?
I want to say it is, but oh man, I hate this for Russ at the tail end of his career. I hate this for Jackson Dart having to go up against the Chargers defense. I wouldn't have made that call, but Brian Daboll is fighting for his life right now. I'm fighting for my life right now. That's the R. Kelly. That's also Brian Daboll. All right. So yeah, I guess it's fair, man. Get the rookie in there.
The only takeaway for the Giants, man, Scattaboo looks like to be the starting running back. Tracy got hurt.
Yeah.
And he was out there trying to show he got some dog in him. And at least for Jackson, he comes into an offense. I think the running back still might be a weak spot. I don't know if Scattaboo's a first down back myself, but you do have Wan'Dale Robinson and you do have Malik Neighbors. So you're not going in there with just a pocket full of lint. You have a little something, So we have what I thought were the 2 games of the weekend left. I don't have much to say about the Cardinals or 49ers personally. It was 16-15, division rivalry game. But we have the game of the week. LA Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me your rundown. Give me your takeaway.
The Eagles, say what you want about Jalen Hurts, but he can pass when he needs to. Dude has a nice arm. He's got nice touch to his passes. He can pass when he needs to. People just think, oh, tush push, short passes. No, he's got great receivers on the outside. There's 2 good tight ends. And Barkley can catch off the backfield, so he can pass when he wants. And he showed it this game. I was rooting for the Rams. I thought the Rams would win. I was wrong. And then, fortunately, I don't bet like that. I don't gamble like that. So I know I think it was the Rams +3. And dude blocked the field goal. If you had bet on the Rams, even though they lost the game, you would still won money. But when he ran the ball back and scored the touchdown, all those people who gamble lost. Oh, wait, I'm not laughing. I don't want them looking for me. But that's crazy. That's crazy. So,
how do you feel the Rams?
It's the best team in the league.
Yes, they are. The Rams showed me that they might be the second best team in the league. they might be the second best team in the league, man. And that could be debated because there are a lot of great squads out there, but the Rams defense is a lot better than people give it credit for, and they're holding their own. Devontae Adams is still one of those people, especially once you get close to the end zone, and then just having Puka Nacua just be everywhere for Matthew Stafford is extending his career. We're seeing both of their running backs between Kyron Williams and Blake Corum start to show up and just give you additional weapons. You just happen to run into the Eagles, who you had beat. You had them beat. It is just that block field goal changed everything. And I will add to your point. You and I talk all the time. I am a Jalen Hurts. I'm a Jalen Hurts defender over here. I don't care what anybody else has to say. You beat the guy. You beat the guy. You did what you're supposed to do. And like you said, when it comes down to it, he does make plays. And you have an offense, and you made sure to get AJ Brown that ball this week. You did. You made sure to get him the ball. You got Devontae Smith the touchdown. And so whenever the time has called, you showed up. This wasn't even the greatest game for Saquon. Saquon had a quiet game, which put all the pressure back on Hurts to make things happen and make sure that they closed out the game the way that they were supposed to, because they were down going into the second half. It was 19-7 for the Rams. You gave them 14 in the third quarter, and you gave 12 in the fourth quarter, while your defense shut out the Rams in the fourth quarter. The only time that they looked like they were going to score was for the game-winning field goal. So the Eagles came through and did what they needed to do. And which goes into our next exciting game, Lions and Detroit. Lions and Ravens, pardon self. Monday Night Football gave us kind of a thriller. And Detroit looked like Detroit. But I want to start off, man. Derrick Henry, you got to hold the ball. You just and I hate that records this season, but you got to hold on to the baby. You had one job, man. Hold on to the baby. But that was a great game. An absolutely spectacular game from what I saw. Do you have concerns for Baltimore? They're 1-2. Did you see the Lions? I know that's a division rival. Did you see them get back into form? What are you seeing?
Each of their running backs got 2 touchdowns. Montgomery is over 100 yards again. They lost their offensive and defensive coordinator, and they still look the same. It's like the players are like, look, we already know the plays. We're just going to rock with whoever you put in charge. So they look the same to me. That game against the Packers, I think it was an anomaly. I'm really surprised by Baltimore all season long, because their defense has been atrocious. And that's a team that's built a reputation on defense. Not to mention Derrick Henry, granted, he didn't fumble, like you mentioned earlier, it was knocked out, but still fumbling 3 times in the first 3 games with a really bad defense, you put more stress on the offense. And a big concern for them and Kansas City, they play each other. They're both 1-2. So that means one of them will be 1-3. I didn't like that hand movement either.
That's how numbers work.
You cut that part out.
No,
working a farm. It was a cow.
The difference between Baltimore and Kansas City right now for me, though, is there's no doubt in Baltimore's offense. If there's been one thing that's been consistent for the games that they have played, is that they will go and score. Is can they stop somebody? And unfortunately, even in this game, Derrick Henry fumbling the ball was the turning point for this game. They were matching whatever the Lions threw at them for all those touchdowns that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery had, which, by the way, David Montgomery only got the ball 12 times. So for him to score twice and have over 100 yards is also crazy. That's very crazy. You're averaging a little bit over 8 yards per carry just based off of those numbers. But Baltimore is scoring. He even brought back Mark Andrews, gave him a touchdown, the name that we haven't said in a while. And it's just the defense, man. So I might have them better than the Chiefs right now. Is that game at home or is that in Kansas City?
I'll tell you in 1 minute.
Because depending on how that game goes, man, that it's not going to necessarily spell curtains for whichever team that loses, but it does definitely mean it's going to be a massive uphill battle that I don't think either one of those teams have faced in the last couple of years of trying to pull yourself out of a hole of having a below 500 record.
It's in Kansas City, and the ESPN analytics give Baltimore a 50.3% chance of winning. Kansas City 49.3 chance of winning. Doesn't add up to 100, but that's what's on their website. So 50.3 versus 49.3. A really good game either way.
Okay. You're a betting man. I think this is a good game. If you were to advise somebody, but not take responsibility, say
Ooh, oh,
can't
okay.
speak for somebody's money. How would you
Put your money on
This is a pressure
Baltimore.
game. Yeah. Okay. Why is that?
Kansas City has the same problem they had last year and the year before, except it's worse this year because Travis Kelce's older. They have no weapons. They have Patrick Mahomes, and they have no weapons. They look like the New England Patriots before they brought in Randy Moss. They had no weapons. They had dudes you had to make up like Kevin Falk, Deion Branch, you're now a Pro Bowler because of Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes is in the same ship now. He has Rashid Rice is still suspended. Xavier Worthy is still injured. He's got no one out there. He's got me and you out there. All right. So Baltimore, Zay Flowers could be a Pro Bowler. Lamar Jackson, and like you said earlier, that Lamar Jackson slander, I've heard, has he lost a step? No, he hasn't lost a step. Good grief. He can't have a bad game. My man's been a MVP 2 times, 3 times already. So man can have a bad game, but he has good weapons. If Mark Andrews can hold the ball when Isaiah likely gets back, Derrick Henry in the backfield, even with their defense being suspect, I think they're gonna beat Kansas City 31-14.
Ooh. I love it. I love that. Man, and I don't disagree. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for the Chiefs this year unless they make some type of trade happen. They are trying to make any receiver a receiver at this current time, man. Who was it? Was it not Tucker? That's Vegas. Who was it? Thornton? I think it was Thornton. He was getting more catches than Hollywood Brown this past game because Pat Mahomes is just trying to find anybody that's available. Waiver wire pickup. You got to hear first. Waiver wire pickup. But man, yeah, love the NFL. There's going to be some good games. We might start doing predictions for a lot of these games. Just do the quick recap. We'll get there. So, what's more important to me? We a week out. Baseball playoffs, MLB. We have the standings. It looks like as of right now, we have. Let me make sure we got it there. In the playoffs, locked right now, is October. I know if you're like me, you only tap into baseball when it's October. If you're like Jamel, who's going to give you a better breakdown of what the season may have looked like and what you should expect, you actually a real fan and you sit here and participate in all the games, even though I question them sometimes. So who's in? The Milwaukee Brewers, the Philadelphia Phillies, Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Dodgers, Toronto Blue Jays, San Diego Padres, New York Yankees, and Seattle Mariners. And then who's left that has a potential to clinch a playoff spot? On the National League side, the Brewers could clinch the number 1 seed with a Philadelphia loss. The Phillies can clinch a first-round bye and home field advantage in the NLDS with a win over Miami or a Dodgers loss. The Blue Jays can clinch a first-round bye. and home field advantage in the ALDS with a win over Boston or a Cleveland loss. And then the Mariners can clinch an AL West win over with a win over Colorado or an Astros loss. Again, I have an Astros shirt on. I don't have loyalty to a baseball team. They just make really dope shirts and jerseys. And shout out to Nike for continuing to do that. Red Sox can clinch a postseason berth as early as Thursday. The Guardians, which is Cleveland for y'all that haven't updated them from the Indians, or Tigers, which is Detroit, can clinch a postseason berth as early as Thursday. The Dodgers can clinch the NL West as early as Thursday, and the Blue Jays can clinch the AL East as early as Thursday. Right now, wild card round is looking like the Tigers at the Guardians, but you know what? Not even going to go that far into it because we still have some things at play that could change a lot of this. But MLB expert Mr. Jamel Collins, you even put money on baseball sometimes, man. What are you expecting for these playoffs? Do you see any teams that didn't make it that should have? And are we expecting any surprises this year? Or are we just going to go back with the defending champions and the Dodgers are going to clear it?
Well, in the National League, I think the only team that may have been a surprise that's been eliminated already is Atlanta, but they've dealt with injuries all season long. Atlanta had a really good team. They're already eliminated. So to me, that's a little surprising. Cincinnati's on a hell of a run. They fought their way back. They were under 500, and now they're pushing. They're at the door to get in the playoffs. But the Brewers caught me off guard. I'm a huge Cubs fan. All right, so fuck St. Louis, but also fuck the Brewers. For them to pass the Cubs, catch the Cubs, then pass the Cubs, and then they maintained that same pace. That when they, for whatever reason, they dipped down, the Cubs dipped down, and the Cubs are 7 games out, so the Brewers have already won the Central. But the Dodgers, 88 wins. The Brewers have 96. Can you name 5 players off the Brewers? Because I think we can all name 5 players off the Dodgers. The Dodgers have spent money and they brought in names. They should have been better. They really weren't bit too bad by the injury bug. I think Mookie Betts missed some time. But other than that, they should have been a lot better. So them not being the number 1 team in the National League really surprised me. As far as the American League, we can always pencil the Yankees in. With as much money as they spend, they should be in first place at all times. But in the Central, it's Detroit getting caught by Cleveland. We were talking about this earlier, how Cleveland in the last 10 games, they've won 1 out of 9, and they've lost 7 in a row. Cleveland has won 9 out of 10. So them catching them and passing them the way they did, catching up with them. But in the West, Seattle did the same thing with Houston. In their last 10, they're 9-1. Seattle is. Houston, their last 10, they're 5-5 with a 4-game losing streak. So bravo to Houston, man. I mean, they found bats, and I can't think of the catcher's name, but dude, as a catcher and a switch hitter, he can reach. He has the possibility of reaching 60 home runs, which would be a hell of an achievement. He's already become the number 1 home run hitting catcher in MLB history for a season. He passed King Griffey Jr.'s record for the Seattle Mariners. He passed Mickey Mantle for the most home runs hit by a switch hitter. So that dude's having a great season. And kudos to Seattle, man. Big time. Kudos.
Okay. Who do you have in the early predictions making the finals? World Series, based on what you've seen so far, who are the 2 teams are you predicting to be there?
In the American League, no one has really stood out to me. So I'm just going to go with Old Faithful instead of the Yankees. So no one's really stood out. When in doubt, Yankee it out. Don't yank it out, but you Yankee it, the team. Now, in the National League, even though the Dodgers spent that much money, Philadelphia has spent a ton of money too, and their team has been healthier consistently. And oh my God, I can't think of the brother's name. Schwartz, I think that's his name. He used to be with the Cubs. when we won our World Series in 2016. Go Cubs! But he's hit over 50 home runs. So, dude, I think it's going to be Philadelphia and New York, and I think Philadelphia's going to get one.
Okay. Okay. I am far from an expert. And like I said, I usually tap in and I do all of my research right before the road to the World Series gets started. I- I'm also pretty consistent, and at least I'll start this for the National League side. In most sports, I never have an easy time counting out the champions, right? And I know Philly was supposed to be them last year. Based
Mm-hmm.
on what we had saw is just, man, they had some unfortunate games during that playoff run, and they had a few injuries at that time too, if I remember correctly, going into the playoffs that could have changed where their trajectory went. But it is the Dodgers, and something tells me that if they if they move themselves up and do not have to face Philly in that first round, then that's going to change their trajectory, where it might give the Dodgers a little bit of time to kind of just pace themselves appropriately. And if not, it'll be Philly. But I'm going to stand on the Dodgers on that side. And you highlighted everything from what I've been seeing about specifically Seattle. I think Seattle has came in, they're running a hot streak. Their name is new to this pool. If I'm just going to take a guess, man, I'm throwing Seattle out there as potentially the team to see LA in the World Series. And I might have the Dodgers with a repeat. That's my early predictions. We're going to do week by week updates on how it's looking, but playoffs start next week, man. October is here. But as we wrap up this particular season, you raised an interesting question. And you're talking about what's more than likely someone that's going to go down as a Hall of Famer, I'm sure, and arguably one of the best players that we've seen in the last decade or so. Is it time for Mike Trout to leave the Angels? I'll let you take that answer.
It is. There's a list of players. Ted Williams, the Splendid Splinter, Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, Tony Gwynn, the Hitman. They never made the playoffs. These are all-time greats. Never made the playoffs. Mike Trout,
Mm-hmm.
due to his injuries, won't be mentioned in the same breath they are. He'll be a level or two below them, but he could have been an all-time great if he were healthy. He's entering the tail end of his career, even though he has this huge contract. It would be nice for the Angels to look for a trade to send him to a contender. Send him all the way across the country to New York, because New York contends every year, and give him a chance with the Yankees, not the Mets. Um, I'm sure the Yankees have some trade pieces, rookies, or some young prospects, but Mike Trout would fit in. He's a big city player because he played in California, even though it was Anaheim. He still played in California. Going to New York, I don't think that'll bother him. Um, I really would like to see him get traded to a contender.
I know 34 isn't the same in baseball as it is in pretty much every other sport. How many years does he have left, especially with his injury prone history that he's had, that would make you want to trade for him if you're another team?
Because when he plays, he still plays well. He puts up the numbers. I think I gotta look at his stats, but I think his batting average was down, but his power numbers are still the same. So he puts up numbers and he plays great defense when he's healthy. Um, he'll easily get a good team like the Yankees, 35, 40 home runs, 100 RBIs. He might bat 280, but I think he'll fit right in. And it's a big name. The Yankees like bringing in big names. So I think that would be the perfect place for him to go. Or the Cubs.
Mm.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs, man. No, good conversation, man. That was this week's episode of the Keep It Clean Sports Team. We will do a dedicated job of trying to get these episodes to drop Thursday morning. So for y'all that are going to see this episode, this just happened last night. Just happened. Fresh to your ears, because that's how dedicated we are to you. You can find us all at the Keep It Clean page on Instagram. You can also find us on TikTok. We do other shows as well, but for specifically sports, please keep in contact with us. Let us know what it is that you would like for us to add. We will more than likely cover all sports. I'm going to let y'all know I'm going to try to carry the hockey flag as that comes up. And shout out to the Golden Knights, Vegas. We coming back. We gonna do what we need to do. We don't care about the Blackhawks on this platform, so we just also want to put that out there as well. But the Keep It Clean page on on Instagram, you can find us on TikTok. You can find us on YouTube where these episodes will be dropping. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for all you dirty bastards that like to get out here with us on the field, keep it clean, stay at home, and we love y'all. And we out.